when you view the actions of those gunfighters and those heroes in all their ambiguity, all their gray shades, of all the rumors of massacres and the bodies that are buried in the desert, and those are true, you have to look at them in the context of the times. The interesting thing, and why I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to write about the Rangers, is that that mindset hasn't changed that much.
Oh no, I mean, and seriously, living down there, it's just different. You cannot explain. I mean, you can go to other southern states, but nothing is like Texas. It's just different.
The interesting thing is, you're absolutely right about Texas. There have been a number of prison, Huntsville has, Texas has probably more prisons per capita than anyone else in the country.
I'm sure they do.
And there have been over the years a number of riots, a number of hostage takings, and the locals are, the locals can't do anything.
Right.
As soon as the Rangers show up, everything gets settled. Because there is a respect and a fear about the Rangers. Because it's one thing to carry a gun. It's another to carry a gun with the awareness that the other guy knows, the criminal, the guy in the bar knows, that you will pull it.
I was going to say, there's no hesitation.
Rangers, then and now, do not hesitate.
Right.
This is what they are. But because of that, there aren't any shooting incidents. The shooting incidents are always with local cops who don't have that bravado. You know, there's great stories of, man holding his farmer, a true story, man holding his family hostage, and local deputies trying to talk to him, and he's got a ranger with him. And the guy yells out from the house, "Ben, you can't come in here, but you want to send that ranger in, he's welcome." And that's the thing, and this is where Caitlin comes from. And what's important for any writer in capturing any character is to capture the character in the context of who she is and what she believes. And that's why one of the fun things I do in this book is there are 10 sections to all three of the books in the series. Okay. Strongest break not till next year. But there are but in each one, each section is preceded by a little ranger parable.
I did know.
One of the ones of my favorites was after Frank Hammer, and the story of Bonnie and Clyde we see with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. Forget that. They were brutal killers, and Frank Hammer, or Hamer, was called out of retirement by the governor to track them down. And after he killed them, the media's thrusting microphones in his face. They said, Frank, what'd you do? What it was like? We just shot the hell out of him.
Enough said.
There was a jail, and this is the great Captain Alley, who was with the most famous modern-day ranger, arguably, is Joaquin Jackson, who was the basis of Nick Nolte's character in Extreme Prejudice. Okay. Nick Nolte spent 3 weeks and modeled his character, even made himself look like Joaquin Jackson. They were on the grounds of a prisoner escape, and they were taken over a jail. Captain Alley got on the bullhorn and said, "All right, I'm going to count to 10, and then I'm going to start shooting. 1, 2, and then he starts shooting." Oh, God. So Joaquin Jackson joins him, and after the guys come out with their hands in the air, he said, "Captain, why didn't you get all the way to 10? He said, "Those sumbitches can't count anyway." Oh, God. True story. True story. And, part of the thing I do here is you can't just have a modern-day Texas Ranger. You've got to show these traditions to show where she came. You have to. To understand who she is, and to also show that the villain she's coming up against today in Strong Justice, she's up against the worst serial killer ever. He's killed more than 400 women. And it's based on truth. The women of Juarez, the bodies that have been found on the Texas-Mexican border. It's all true. And in addition to that, she's up against a Mexican revolutionaries plotting a guerrilla war against the U.S. Because great heroes are made by great villains and their terrible plots. Yeah. So I have so much fun writing these books, as you probably can tell.
And it does show when you enjoy what you're doing. It shows. At least I think it does.
Best advice I ever got about writing was from my martial arts instructor when I was having trouble. He said to me, and he's passed away, so I don't study anymore. "You're having a problem, I'll tell you why. Get yourself out of the way. You are imposing yourself on the story. Let the story be the story. Let the characters tell the story. Ever I got that advice, I never wrote a third-person omniscient scene. All my writing is third-person, limited point of view. In other words, every scene I write is from the point of view of a character. So people say, what do you do if I get writer's block? I say, I don't write. What do? I just say what the characters see and record what they say.
Oh, that's incredible. That's a great process, the way you have it.
If you let your characters do the work, the hardest thing about writing, most debut authors will tell you, is dialogue. If your characters are speaking instead of you telling them what to say, it becomes the easiest part.
It writes itself.
There you go. It's kind of like everybody's, fascinated with these cars that parallel park themselves.
Yeah.
Wow. No hands. Well, that's a stretch of the metaphor because obviously you got to type.
Yes, yes.
But that's pretty much a very accurate metaphor for how I write. I don't do it. It's just there because I know my characters. I know Caitlin. I know her outlaw lover, Court Wesley Masters. I know Court Wesley Masters' oldest son, Dylan, who Caitlin becomes the surrogate mother for after she witnesses his mother being gunned down. It's all about emotion. It's all about relationships. But it's also about how characters deal with the crises and violence in their lives. And that's the kind of character Caitlin is. She's a survivor. And not only does she survive, her code is that the people who mean something to her, and which is everybody, the people she feels herself responsible for, she wants them to live too.
Well, I can hardly wait to finish this up because I have a 4.5-hour flight. So
I am great for airplanes and beaches.
Hey, well, that's what I'm going to do is read this. Oh, and it won't be dark this time. I can actually read it.
Oh, there's some tough stuff in there. And I didn't even realize that, by the way. I did not realize until some people said, you wrote a really violent book. And I didn't think it was. And then I went back and said, whoa,
oh,
it is. And they're not just talking about the blood and the gore, which I really don't think there's too much of. They're talking about
the psychological,
the way these people, the way the villains think, and even the way our heroes think, because great violence can only be defeated by great violence. You cannot talk down a serial killer who's already killed 400 people. You either kill him or he's going to kill you. There is nothing in the middle.
There isn't anything in between. Well, thank you so much. And this one is called Strong Justice. And what is the name of the next one?
Strong at the Break.
Strong at the Break.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.